Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer not coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. Instead, downtown Atlanta, Georgia, SEC Media Days 2025. We were here in the College Football Hall of Fame. Day 2, and we're fired up to be here for the next couple of hours. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali are back in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. We got plenty to do here over the next 2 hours, talking a ton of football. If we've got some time, depending on guests and the way things break over the next couple hours, we may touch on the wrap-up of the Major League Baseball draft, but a lot of football over the next 2 hours. Peter Burns from the SEC Network going to join us here in 10 minutes. Excited to chat with Peter. And then Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, at the end of this hour at 1:45, so fired up for that as well. Log us in the next 2 hours. We will start the same way we start every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
I want to start with Auburn today. Generally speaking, when you would come to SEC Media Days over the course of the last 2 decades, LSU and Auburn were guaranteed to play, and they don't play this year. Incidentally, LSU doesn't play any of the 4 teams that are making their rounds at SEC Media Day today, which makes it a little bit of a challenge from a local angle, but still, it's college football, it's the SEC. We're going to cover them all. And to me, Auburn is an incredibly interesting case because everyone kind of feels the same way about Auburn. I'll talk about Tennessee a little bit later. I'll talk about Georgia a little bit later, and I feel like there are some differing opinions on what the Vols could or couldn't be and what Georgia's got to do to replace a ton off of both of their units. And there are differing opinions on both of those. Everybody's kind of in lockstep with Auburn that I've talked to, and then I sat in the big ballroom when Hugh Freeze did his Q&A a little bit earlier, and based on the questions that I'm hearing, it feels like everyone's kind of in lockstep. It's like, okay, the first 2 years under Hugh Freeze have been utterly disappointing. Auburn has not gotten out of neutral on the field. Now, you look at off the field in terms of their recruiting rankings and their transfer portal classes, and you're going, well, all that looks really good. Because when you brought in Hugh Freeze, you're thinking it's kind of the same as Gus Malzahn. He just generally recruits better. And that's kind of what he's doing, but he's not winning. And last year, they didn't win. This program is 11-14 over its last 25 games. And that's just unacceptable on the Plains. I know Alabama's been really good, and I know Georgia's been really good, and I know that those are their biggest 2 rivals, and that's a hard block to live on. But you got to be better than 11-14. They lost multiple double-digit leads to Oklahoma and Missouri last year. Oklahoma and Missouri weren't that good last year, and Auburn couldn't get out of its own way. I mean, the Missouri game was just a joke. They missed a chip shot field goal. They got stalled inside the 5-yard line, didn't get any points. They gave up a late touchdown inside 2 minutes to play. It was just awful game management and execution. And that's been the story for Auburn far too often under Hugh Freeze. Last year, they were the worst team in the league in terms of turning the ball over. It was interceptions from Peyton Thorne. It was also fumbles, and they didn't do a good job of taking the ball away either. And so now you look at this Auburn team, and they appear to have restocked the shelves to a degree. You've got an offensive line that brings back 3 interior starters, and you've got transfers to come in on the tackles. At wide receiver, Cam Coleman comes back as one of the most exciting players in the league, and that's a really good place to start on the receiving core, but that's not all that they've got on the receiving core, because if you look on the other side, you've got Eric Singleton, who comes in from Georgia Tech, who was the #1 transfer portal wide receiver in the country. And all that's well and good offensive line. You feel like Hugh Freeze's teams generally can run the ball. Jarquez Hunter's gone, but you've got real talent at wide receiver now. So what's left? Well, it's quarterback. And they bring in Jackson Arnold. And anyone who watched Oklahoma play last year knows how atrocious that group was on offense. That precipitated a coordinator change in the middle of the season. They could not move the ball at all. And Jackson Arnold was piloting the ship a lot of that time. Not all of it, but a lot of that time. And he wasn't very good. He looked confused. He didn't look decisive. He kind of ran around like a high school quarterback because he's got great athleticism. But the thought is that a change of scenery may do him well. And this is a pretty good ecosystem to drop a quarterback into. You've got an offensive line that returns a lot. You've got two of the best wide receivers in the conference. You've got a coach who has scored a lot of points with a lot of quarterbacks that have less ability than Jackson Arnold. The question is, how good is Arnold now that the people around him are significantly better than they were in Norman? And the answer, we don't know. And, like, that's basically everyone's opinion on this Auburn team. It's like, okay, they should be better unless Jackson Arnold is just the bust that we watched last year in Norman. Now, you look at Auburn's schedule, and they've got 3 road games in September against Power 5 teams. That's a rough start to a year. You're at Baylor to start things. Dave Aranda's team got better down the stretch. LSU beat them in the bowl game, but they got better down the stretch. They returned a really good quarterback. So you've got at Baylor to start things. Then you got Ball State. You win that one. South Alabama, you win that one. Then you got to go to Oklahoma and then to A&M in back-to-back weeks. And while I don't know if those are 2 of the top 4 or 5 most talented teams in the conference, they are difficult places to play. Kyle Field is a difficult place to play. Norman is a difficult place to play. And once Auburn completes that month, that first month where they've got 3 Power 5 road games, they play Georgia. And really this boils down to how much water can they tread over the course of that time. If they can finish that at 4-2, say you beat Baylor, beat Ball State, beat South Alabama, lose at Oklahoma, beat A&M, and lose to Georgia, and you're 4-2 through 6 weeks. Well, from that point forward, Auburn can get rolling because you got a home game with Missouri, you go to Arkansas, home Kentucky, at Vanderbilt, Mercer. That stretch from October the 18th to Thanksgiving is very manageable. Auburn could win all those games. And at that point, you set up a monster Iron Bowl no matter what happened, as long as you didn't faceplant right out of the gate. Because you'll be playing better. You'll feel like you've turned a corner. Jackson Arnold's probably playing pretty well. There's a little juice. And you got them coming to Jordan-Hare. But can Auburn get out of its own way early in the season and win some of these games on the road? That's the question. It's not the most difficult schedule you've ever seen. There's no Texas. There's no LSU. There's no Ole Miss. There's no Florida. You do have Alabama. You do have Georgia. But outside of that, it's Oklahoma, A&M, Missouri, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Like, those are manageable games. So Auburn is interesting because it's time for Hugh Freeze's era to start moving in the right direction. 5-7 last year is not going to get it. And we know what happens at Auburn when coaches start to waffle. Because Gus Malzahn would win the league and then come back the next November and be on the hot seat. And finally, they ousted him. They like to get rid of – Brian Harsin was there for a minute and a half. They will oust a coach. Like, that's just the way things work on the Plains, especially when they're looking across the way at their rivals who are winning national championships by the fistful. So it's a big, big, big year. And Hugh Freeze met with the media today. I was curious kind of the demeanor he would have. And basically his message today was, I feel like we've got a pretty good team and we should be a lot better. So we'll step aside, take a time out. That's our Genesis Open and Drive. When we come back, Peter Behrens from the SEC Network will join us. We're at SEC Media Days here in Atlanta.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Back here, Radio Row, SEC Media Days 2025 in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Busy day here on this Tuesday. Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas taking their turn at the various microphones. Peter Burns, yes, SEC Network joins us now. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm burning the hell up. You guys got this is a damn sauna right now.
You've got a sport coat on. You're better dressed than me in my dry fit golf shirt, but it's warm up.
It is a little bit warm.
And the lights here probably don't help.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, y'all got a better setup than we do here at the SEC Network. I think it's all Rivers. That's who puts it together.
That's exactly right. Is there an internal competition in terms of the attire on the set of the SEC Network? You got Roman, you got Jordan, and you're looking dapper with the sport coat today.
Well, Jordan's not fair. Like, in fact, I hope I don't know when his contract is up, but I hope we don't renew him because I'll be honest with you, like, there's nothing like you could wake up in the morning, you're like, dude, this is my best suit. I'm right there, got a brand new haircut, I'm looking good, and then all of a sudden you look in the right before the morning meeting, and like you sit there and you look at Jordan Rodgers, like, you son of a, like, just it's disgusting. Like, so yeah, and then Roman. Well, I can't compete with NFL money. I mean, like, that Saints money is a little bit different than SEC Network money. We'll put it that way.
And look, but you're looking good today, and we got a lot to talk about. Tell me, best golf course you played this year. Favorite course you played this year?
I played Yeamans Hall in Charleston Country Club, which was really nice over obviously in Charleston. And who helped me set that up was Shane Beamer.
Okay.
And I called him, and I was like, hey, Shane, you got to do me a favor. I want to take my dad on a golf trip and stuff like that. And so we ended up going out there and playing. He goes, you know what? Even after LSU beat us, I'm going to help you out. And I was like, I do appreciate that. And I was like, in all full disclosure, y'all got robbed in that game, but let's not
that one. I actually went back and watched the highlights of that game in one of my. It's like to prep for this kind of week. That was wild.
It was a weird game. It was
just absolutely nuts with the penalties and the no calls and the turnovers and the 60-yard touchdown runs, and Nussmeier threw for a bajillion yards. That was a wild one, and I think we saw both of those teams yesterday. What do you think about the
real
vibes?
Quick? And I lied to you.
Ooh, come on.
I got an opportunity to go with Brian Sheremy and play Shoal Creek a while back.
Ooh, I hear really good things.
So that whole crew was so much fun, and it was great to hang out with a bunch of LSU guys and enjoy that. But it's been a whirlwind because we're going straight from Hoover, then we go all the way. We got regional, super regionals. We do Omaha, and that was just an absolute flipping blur. And you're off for about 2 weeks.
I was there 13 days.
Trust me, like my credit card might be with Byron Bennett's credit card bill, and that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. Competing with him in the baseball beverages department is a tough thing to do,
buddy. But it's a fun week.
It is.
And finally, this is the first time in a long time I felt like LSU has had as much juice as anybody here in the room. More juice than, obviously Tennessee that's here. I mean, more juice than Ole Miss, South Carolina. I mean, this is a team, and I think it sets the tone with not only Garrett Nussmeier as QB1, but, my God, what weeks. I mean, I knew he was just a stud, but if you interview him and you spend any time with that young man, you're like, I'm all in. I don't know what you're selling, but I'm all in.
I was sitting next to Whit Weeks in a little breakout. There was like 8 reporters there asking questions, and one of the women who was not a local Baton Rouge reporter said, are you like this all the time, or is this like for media days? And he was like, oh, no, this is just kind of who I am.
Oh, shucks. It's, we got an opportunity. I don't know if you guys did it yesterday. There was a screening of the Any Given Saturday, the Netflix deal about SEC football. And there's a scene that I don't want to ruin it too much, but in the USC game, he misses a tackle, and then they cut to Whit, and he's like, I just know Brian Kelly's going to be on the sideline, and, man, he's going to be mad at me. And he just says it with such a smile, but also kind of a pissed-off nature. And I think that's what Blake Baker and this defense needs coming up this year.
I heard the term national championship 3 times before lunch yesterday from the LSU folks. And Brian Kelly said, we are not playing defense well enough to win a national championship. And that's true. We've all sat there and watched it. Do you have confidence that they can do that?
So where I have confidence that, yes, I think they're going to be extremely much better. The best thing that happened to LSU was them not getting Bryce Underwood. I'll go to my grave thinking that until somebody proves me wrong. And the fact that, hey, that money and really the mindset that this was going to be our guy and somebody else could swoop in under LSU and get him, I think it kind of re-kicked and restarted everybody, like from the boosters, from the NIL, from that whole world going, all right, let's trickle down. Let's get everything that we need and have that chip on the shoulder. So I think that was good. I think why you can win a national championship at LSU this year is because I believe that if you're in the playoff, you have an opportunity this year. I think it's as wide open as anything. It's been a long time.
It looks that way. Ohio State pushed all their chips last year, and a lot of that is gone. And then we just heard from Kirby, and that's a team that has about 4 or 5 starters left. So it feels wide open. Lane and Paul had their deal yesterday on his set.
Going to be real awkward with you and just kind of sit there. I would.
What did you think of his energy yesterday and kind of the state of affairs in Oxford?
I think he's comfortable. I will say this: Austin Simmons, a stud. Yeah. And if he stays there 2 years, I don't know. You can't buy Heisman odds for 2 years down the road. I don't believe. If you can, find me. Jimmy Ott maybe has it somewhere. I'm all in on that kid. Defensively, I think they struggle a little bit. But offensively, I mean, this kid is the second coming, if not better than Tua, and that's going to be scary if he continues to develop that way.
If I gave you any quarterback of the 16, you got a head quarterback this season, who would you take?
I'm taking Garrett Nussmeier.
Okay.
I mean, 5 years. I mean, come on. With this crew, I think there's something special here.
There should be a Manning walking around. I'm sure I'll find him wherever there's a massive horde of people.
It's getting, it's going to be around here somewhere. I'm not looking forward to it. So.
All right. Well, once you get out of here, I know you got a lot to do. Appreciate you spending some time with us.
See you, bud.
That's Peter Burns. SEC Network. Talking a little football here from Radio Row. Actually, good timing there, in and out with Peter, because we do have some news for LSU baseball, and I think this is a good time to kind of shoehorn it in here. LSU just got a transfer, and I'm going to be very candid with you about the breakdown of this transfer. I don't know anything about him right this second. I have his bio up from Grand Canyon. I'm going to read it to you on the air and then draw my wild conclusions as I read stats. Zach York is the addition. He is from Grand Canyon. He is a big physical. Look, my man Zach, based on the pictures, he gets his meals. He's a big dude, 6'2", 295 pounds. He was a junior, hits left-handed, throws right-handed at Grand Canyon. And let's see the statistics here. Okay, over 3 years at Grand Canyon, he's been a .328 hitter. In 2025, this past year, he hit .339 and has some pop in the bat. 32 career home runs over 3 seasons, 91 strikeouts over his career, 122 walks. So that profile makes a lot of sense to me. This is a powerful bat to play first base. And that's something they were looking for. You were never going to get Jared Jones back. It was unlikely that Ethan Fry was going to return. Luis Hernandez is out of eligibility. You start to look around, and I think Seth Dardar can play first base, the transfer from Kansas State. I think Braden Simpson can play first base, the transfer from High Point. They'll compete at second and third as well. And then you look at, you've got a high school signee that is going to make it to campus that went undrafted that you're going to bring in at first base. But this is a veteran power bat. I was told entering the draft that they were looking for a portal addition at first base. I didn't know who it was going to be. I didn't have any names, but first base was a position that I was told they were looking for. And this appears to be that addition. Zach York, big first baseman from Grand Canyon who has hit for power. I'll just give you I gave you his 3-year stats. I'll break it down to what he did this past season. .339 at Grand Canyon in 48 games. So he's a .339 hitter. He hit 13 home runs. He drove in 46. His on-base percentage was .447, so 45% on base. His slugging was .632. I try to do some quick math there for an OPS. That is north of 1.07 or so. So that's really good numbers there in a smaller conference at Grand Canyon. We saw Jay Johnson this past year dip into the lower level for his transfers. The ones in his first couple years were Jacob Berry and Thatcher Hurd and Gage Jump and Luke Holman and Tommy White, and these are guys who come from Power 4 programs. This past year, Dickinson from Utah Valley, Luis Hernandez from Indiana State. You went and got Anthony Ianson from UC San Diego, and all these were hits. And it's about evaluation. It's about understanding tools and trusting in the development that LSU has in Baton Rouge, and that's what they're going to look for here with Zach York. So, again, I can't claim to have watched any video. I don't know what he did game to game. I'll have to look at some video of his swing and some of the things that I can research on the fly, but I found this out in the last break. We chatted with Peter, and then I'm talking to you about it. So I think this is a good addition. I think this is a skill set that is necessary because if you look at LSU's team on paper, you don't know how much power Aaron Beatty's going to hit for at catcher. Milam's going to be a 10, 12 homer guy, you think. But if Stanfield is back, and Stanfield very well could be back because he wasn't drafted, if he doesn't sign an undrafted free agent deal and comes back, there's no power in that spot. Derek Curiel is not going to be a big power hitter. He may hit 10 home runs if he kind of grows into that, but I think that it's probably safer to suggest he might hit 6. So you're missing Fry, you're missing Jones, you're missing Hernandez, you're missing Dickinson. These were very powerful bats for you this past year. Pearson hit some home runs as well, and you're missing all of that. So maybe John Pearson cracks into the starting lineup and hits for some home runs. Dardar has some home run power. Simpson has some home run power. You hope Aaron Beatty grows into that. You hope that Milam swings a powerful bat. But this is a thumper that's probably going to hit probably in the middle of the lineup, maybe just towards the bottom a little bit. from Grand Canyon, but I think this makes sense. I can't tell you that I've scouted Zach York extensively, but I understand where they're trying to go with this pickup. So LSU in the transfer portal gets Zach York, first baseman from Grand Canyon, 6'2", 295 from Campbell, California. So that's the baseball update here from Radio Row at SEC Media Days. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors that make this week possible. It's a ton of fun, and we hope that y'all enjoy it as well, but they make it possible. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. You can sign up for your chance to win $10,000 at parishbuilt.com. Also presented by Rev and Relief Windows. That's why we are here in the College Football Hall of Fame. Tennessee's players are down in the ballroom below me. They're answering questions. Josh Heupel just left the podium. The Georgia players have been walking around. Kirby Smart has been here a good bit, and earlier today we heard from the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze. Still waiting for Steve Sarkisian to take his turn at the big podium, and Arch Manning will be around, and there will be a lot of folks following him, I would have to imagine. So we'll keep chugging along here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Come back with us for more. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook, the Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
LaBerge in Baton Rouge. UFC 318 is going to be going down, and we're going to have an event there at ESPN Bet. We'll announce our VIP winners, all 4 of them, coming up at the top of hour number 2, so 30 minutes from right now. We will announce the winners that are going to have a big old time watching UFC 318 at LaBerge coming up on Saturday. We're going to talk to Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, 50 years covering the Southeastern Conference. Got a book coming out, and we'll talk about that a little bit here in our next segment to close out hour number 1. I want to talk about the Vols here in this segment. Last year, at this time, when you're going through the magazines and you're reading the analysis and watching the highlights and looking at the recruiting stars and kind of scouting out what you think about the SEC, you pick teams that you like, you pick teams that you don't really like. And I thought Tennessee last year on paper looked like they were really going to be good. I thought the defense looked really good. I thought they were going to be physical on the offensive line. I thought that Hendon Hooker was a great quarterback 2 years ago, that they had a step down with Joe Milton, but that Nico would be the guy to reignite that high-octane offense. And the defense looked better, and a lot of that happened. They ran the ball exceptionally well last year. They played really good defense. And Nico was okay. He was okay. And so I feel kind of validated in my pick of them preseason. They went 10-2. They made the playoff. And as I do that same exercise with Tennessee this year, I come away with like the exact opposite feeling. I don't like Tennessee on paper at all. Now, their schedule is manageable, and that's a big part about who you are as a team. But when I look at this Tennessee team, everybody's going to go immediately Nico, and the big storyline and all the drama where he's holding out and he's basically holding the collective hostage and he wants the money and he ends up in the portal and nobody really wants him and he ends up at UCLA where he'll founder away in complete anonymity and no one will care. But that's not really the storyline, because it's everything else that has gone into this roster that I think is just as interesting. It just wasn't a circus. Now, you've got 4 offensive linemen that have moved on from the group that helped lead the SEC in rushing. The only one that's back is Lance Hurd. And this is not sour grapes. I think Lance Hurd's an incredibly high upside as a football player. He didn't have a good year last year. He didn't play very well. But he's back. The other 4 offensive linemen are gone. Dylan Sampson, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, gone. Your replacement for him is a former walk-on. It's Deshaun Bishop. And Squirrel White and Brew McCoy were the top 2 wide receivers, and they're gone. So your offense is basically a shell of itself. You return 1 starting wide receiver, your tight end, and an offensive lineman. That's it. And you're going to have to overhaul all of that to run Josh Heupel's offense. And then you look at defense. They should still be good. They got 7 starters back of a really good defense. But this caught my eye. And this is just one opinion. This is Lindy's Sports Magazine that I was reading through. We've got others. Phil Steele's got a great magazine. You can talk to a lot of the analysts that are here. And we'll get other people's thoughts on Tennessee as we move forward. I may get Tony Barnhart's here in a few minutes. But you look at Lindy's, and they put together a top 3 SEC teams, first team, second team, third team preseason. Tennessee has 2 players on it total. Jermod McCoy is a first-team DB, and Aaron Carter is a third-team linebacker. That's it. That's the entirety of the high end of this Tennessee roster. And that's hard to grasp. So if you don't have the folks that made your offense functional last year, and your defense is missing some key pieces, and you don't have a lot of folks that are first and second team preseason, it's just very unproven and very unsettled to me. And so I look at this Tennessee team, and it's like, okay, you go and get a quarterback from Appalachian State. And Joey Aguilar threw for a lot of yards at Appalachian State. He threw for 6,700 and 56 touchdowns in 24 starts. He also turned the ball over a lot at Appalachian State. So what does that tell you about what he might do in the Southeastern Conference? I'm not convinced that they've significantly upgraded. I'm no Nico apologist. I don't think he was a great player. I thought he was an average player. I don't know if they've got an average player here or not. It's a matter of does the skill set translate from the Sun Belt to the SEC? We'll see. Now the schedule is doable here for Tennessee. They open here in Atlanta in what is going to be a really ugly Mercedes-Benz Stadium that night with Syracuse and Tennessee in an all-orange battle. And they'll play that game in Atlanta, and then they got East Tennessee State. And then they play Georgia, which is going to be obviously very difficult, but they get Georgia in Neyland Stadium in September. Then you got some really winnable games, UAB at Mississippi State and Arkansas, before you got to go to Tuscaloosa. And we know that's always a big, big game. Tennessee has beaten Alabama the last 2 times in Neyland. They hadn't won in Bryant-Denny in a bajillion years. So we'll see what they can do in that game. And then your finish is very manageable. At Kentucky, home Oklahoma, home New Mexico State, at Florida, who knows what's going on in Gainesville at that point in late November, and then you got Vanderbilt in the season finale. So there's no Texas, there's no Ole Miss, there's no LSU. It's basically Georgia and Alabama, and then a lot of teams that are going to be picked towards the bottom of the league. Doesn't mean they're going to finish in the bottom of the league. They're going to be picked toward the bottom of the league. So my conflict on Tennessee as I break them down entering this season is like, I don't like the roster much at all, but I do like the schedule. So where does that net out? Because most of the teams you talk about, like you hate the schedule because there's so many good teams in the SEC. Most teams have a brutal look. But in this case, like I'm not 100% convinced that this is a very difficult schedule, relatively speaking, with the SEC. We'll see. But I tend to think this is probably an 8 or 9 win team in Knoxville. I think they lose to Georgia. I think they lose to Alabama. I think they may lose at Florida, and then there's probably another landmine somewhere, whether it's Syracuse, whether it's a home game against Oklahoma. Maybe Vanderbilt clips you at the end of the year. But this is a Tennessee team that has taken a step back, in my opinion. We just heard from Peter Burns in the last segment, and he was like, I mean, LSU's got more juice than just about anybody, and he mentioned directly like Tennessee. And I agree. If you're here in Atlanta, we've talked to a lot of people, whether it's here in the big ballroom or it's in the sports bar after everybody files their last story and turns off the microphone. But, like, not a lot of buzz on Tennessee, and I think it's probably for good reason. I would buy stock today in Tennessee over the next 5 years because I think Josh Heupel is a good coach. I think they've woken up a little bit from a really sleepy, nearly 2 decades, if we're being honest, of the Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, circus that it was. Jeremy Pruitt. They're in better shape than they were there. I don't think this team's got that, but I still think that I like Heupel's offense. I like that there's an identity behind Tennessee, and I think they're going to be a factor a lot of years. They were certainly a factor last year. I don't think they're a factor this year. I think that they could regain that with continuing quality roster management that Heupel will generally put together. I was on Tennessee's side here with the Nico saga. I thought that was disgraceful, the way that family handled that, but that's an opinion. You're certainly free to test the market whenever you want. It's just, I think that leaving Tennessee to go play quarterback in front of 11 people in the Rose Bowl for UCLA, not great, but still it puts Tennessee in a bad spot, and you got to dip down to App State and see if you can snag a quarterback. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not super high on the Vols. Today is Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. Already heard from Hugh Freeze, Kirby Smart, and Josh Heupel. Steve Sarkisian will be next up there on the podium, and so we'll hear from him a little bit later to wrap things up here on this Tuesday. We're chugging along here on Radio Row. Gave you a little bit of baseball update in the last segment. We'll go ahead and put a bow on the Major League Baseball draft in our next segment. We're going to back Tony Barnhart up a couple minutes, and he'll join us to chat at 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock where I'm sitting right here. So some time to decompress and maybe get into a little bit of baseball here before we dial it back up to football with Tony Barnhart, and then a look at at Texas and Georgia in the second hour. So fired up to be here. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. We'll step aside, come back and close out the hour with some baseball talk when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Safety's a big deal when you're purchasing a vehicle. Doesn't matter if you've got big family or it's just you driving around. Safety's important, and Genesis knows that, and that's why every single vehicle on the line, all of them, are an IIHA top safety pick. Sedan, yep. SUV, yep. High-end level, yep. Entry level, yep. All of them. Top safety picks. Some of them top safety picks plus. You'll get behind the wheel of a Genesis. You'll feel the comfort. You'll feel the style. You'll see all the features, bells and whistles, and you'll be treated wonderfully by their awesome staff. Safety is something that you can't really feel when you sit behind the wheel of a car. But just know that they've been tested, and they're among the best and the safest on the road. Go by and see them. Airline at Pico, across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can check out that entire line at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
All right, fast-moving first hour here from Radio Row here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks to Peter Burns for jumping aboard. Tony Barnhart going to be with us coming up in 17 minutes. Excited to talk to Tony, who's been at it a while, 50 years covering the Southeastern Conference. Got a book coming out about it, and excited to talk some football with Tony here in 17 minutes. And then after further review, going to be a loaded show for you today as well. So it's been fun. It's a fun start to the week. I know it's a weird deal for us, and I talked about this yesterday on the show. It's weird that when I sat down for my first show of media days, LSU's presence was already gone. Now, we talked to them all, and we spent the whole morning doing interviews and getting things ready, and we had plenty of content on the shows and story up at louisianasports.net. But it's just interesting. There's no build for the LSU media. You just walked in, they're here. 4 hours later, they're gone. Okay, take with that what you will and handle it for the rest of the week. So it's just a lot of talking about a lot of other teams now, which is fine. I'm excited to dive into this football season, and we're certainly doing that here in Atlanta. But to end this hour, let's put a button on the Major League Baseball draft as it relates to LSU. Let's start with the guys on the team that were drafted. You know, Cade Anderson went 3rd overall to Seattle. Anthony Ianson, 87th to the Red Sox. Ethan Fry is going to sign professionally. He's going to get near $1 million at number 95. Jared Jones, slot value for his selection is a little bit over $200,000 to the Pirates in the 9th round. Jacob Myers waited a little bit longer than I thought he would. He went 5 picks after Jared Jones to the Red Sox in the 9th round. I skipped over there. Chase Shores, 47th by the Angels. And then 2 more yesterday that were taken. Connor Ware went in the 15th round to the Mets. I do expect that Connor Ware will sign that contract and turn professional. LSU kind of backloaded for Ware in the transfer portal when they went and got those left-handed pitchers in Lockenmeyer and go to Oregon, get Castillo. They've done a good job of adding Ryland Smart from Tennessee. So they've got left-handers, and Connor Ware's likely to move on. And then Cade Woods was drafted in the 10th round by the Atlanta Braves yesterday. So Atlanta will save some money on Cade Woods, who's a senior, and he'll move into their organization. So the guys that did not get drafted who were eligible to do so. Zach Cowan, that is a big deal for LSU. I talked about this last week when we were entering the draft. Like, Cowan is a guy that is not super projectable to the next level, so he may not be a high enough pick to forego. And there's a chance that after a really, really good season that he had, it's easy for us to forget how great he was because there was 3 bad weeks. It was bad in College Station, it was bad in Columbia, it was bad in the regional. And because you had those bad weeks late, you kind of don't realize that before he took them out in College Station, he was the most dominant relief pitcher in the Southeastern Conference. That is not hyperbole. No one was scoring on him. And I don't know that it's reasonable to expect him to be like that all the time. I think he was just pitching very well at that point. But he is talented enough dude to get a lot of outs in the SEC. And I think now he comes back with an absolute opportunity to be a starting pitcher for this team next year. He proved he could do that at Wofford. It's not some sort of crazy transition. He's started his entire life, and I think he's going to be a starter next year. He, to me, would just be a perfect number 3 starter. Who throws a ton of strikes, gets a lot of weak contact, is perfectly capable of getting deep into a game. He's just got Eric Walker written all over him when they're at their best. And Eric Walker at his best as a freshman was awesome, and I think that Zach Cowan can be that as well. A lot of times on Sundays you have guys with big stuff who don't throw strikes or bullpens that are really hurting, and you can see some big scoring totals in those games. Cowan would give LSU a great chance on Sunday games if he is able to win that spot. So that's a big one for LSU to get back. Jaden Newt is going to be a versatile piece to this LSU pitching staff next year. He's coming back. He can start. Hasn't done it yet, but that's a profile that he has, and maybe he's just a long reliever like he was this year. Maybe he's a spot starter on the midweek, or when you get to the NCAA tournament in a tough regional game or something like that. He's got plenty of stuff. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He threw that changeup really well this year. So Newt is a versatile piece that LSU brings back. And then you go offensively to Chris Stanfield, who did not get drafted, and this was a real possibility. Stanfield does not have a power tool at all, and he doesn't hit the ball the other way really at all. So you've got a guy that's very limited in his profile and what he can bring to a professional organization, and nobody took a pick in a 20-round draft. In a 40-round draft, Chris Stanfield would have gone and signed professionally. But they've shrunk the minor leagues, they've shrunk the draft down to 20 rounds, and nobody wanted to take an outfielder that can't hit for power. So Stanfield comes back, and that's likely going to be a guy that can be a key piece to your outfield. I'm getting a text saying something's going on with Stanfield, so I'm going to try and check that out on Twitter. There's a lot going on here. Okay, he announced he's staying, so that's good. That's what I figured. He could have signed a professional contract. You can sign an undrafted deal just like in football. The guys that are undrafted can sign on and try to make a team. You can do that in baseball. It's a little bit more rare because you got a 20-round draft and all that kind of stuff. But he's announced he's going to come back. So maybe he plays center field. Maybe Curiel moves to center and he goes to left, kind of like Braswell and Milam did a little bit of a switch there. But we'll see. I think Stanfield coming back is a good thing for LSU's offense for sure. I was bummed out that Luis Hernandez did not get drafted. That's a bummer for a kid that came in, played a new position, got some huge hits for LSU, 2 monster homers in the regional that he hit. And then he has obviously the line drive against Arkansas that was a big one. Just a really great contributor to that team, and I was hoping he'd get a more direct path into professional baseball than having to go and try to find an undrafted deal to sign. But he did not get drafted over the weekend, unfortunately, so Luis will have to look around for his next spot. So that's the roster. Now let's look at the high school class. And I'm tempted to just go with the guys that they're going to get because trying to go through all 17 names is probably a little bit more than we want to do on the radio today. But I will say this. It looks awful when you look at, oh my gosh, they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They lost 8 signees to this draft class. Like, that is so many. That's decimating the draft class. And I'm looking going, well, it looks that way, but it's not that bad. You knew this class had a lot of risks, and Jay Johnson's recruiting classes moving forward are going to have a lot of risks. And 10 or 12 years ago, if you took this many risks and you got 8 or 9 guys picked in the draft that weren't going to show up, you were going to have no freshman class, and it was going to be a bad deal for your program that you were going to have to patch hole with JUCO players, and that's not the way you want to run a program. Couldn't do it. Now that you can every offseason go into the transfer portal and just start grabbing guys, it's not that big a deal. So what's most important is that you get high-end players, and LSU got high-end players out of this signing class. William Patrick not getting drafted is a big deal. This is the best athlete in LSU's signing class. He set an event record in the 60-yard sprint. He can throw, run, hit for power, like super athlete. Not necessarily as polished, which is why he didn't get picked early as he would like. But he comes out of Monroe, out of St. Fred's, and he's coming to school. That's huge. Marcus Paz. Tommy John is a junior. High velo fastball pitcher from Texas. The comp I was given was Kason Evans in terms of makeup and velocity and professional stock. And they got him to campus. It's huge. It's a right-handed pitcher. You got a pair of shortstops through, which is a spot you're going to need to fill once Milam moves on after next year, and you lost Mikey Ryan, and your 2 shortstops from the class before that had transferred out, so you were a little thin at shortstop. Jack Ruckert from Catholic did not get drafted, and Ethan Kloss, the shortstop in the class, is also going to come to school. So you add 2 middle infielders, which is a big deal. Mason Braun, this kid can absolutely crush the baseball. South Bend, Indiana, the reason he was not a high draft pick is because he's only 6 feet tall. If he was 6'4", he'd have been a high pick. But he doesn't have the projectability to go hit 40 big league bombs because he's not very tall. And that may just make him a great college player, and that's what LSU's looking for. So they get Mason Braun through the draft. He'll profile at first base and come in maybe as an opportunity to be a left-handed bat off the bench, or maybe break into the starting lineup on the first team he plays on next year. You've got left-handed pitcher Jonah Ayes. It's very good to get left-handers in. LSU does that with Logan Ayes. Then at junior college, Zion Theopolis as well, the right-handed pitcher, throws a ton of strikes, very pitchable. Not necessarily a huge arm. I thought LSU would get him through. So that's a good thing for the class. If you read my draft preview on LouisianaSports.net or listened to the segment I did on the draft on Thursday of last week, getting ready for it, I think I got them all. I think I pegged the guys that were going to leave. I think I pegged the guys that LSU was hoping to get through the draft. And so because I did that, I'm not telling you that to toot my own horn. I just get stuff wrong constantly. I'm telling you that because that's the expectation entering the draft. This did not go appreciably worse than anyone at LSU thought 7 days ago. It went about exactly how they thought it would go, and they were okay with that. So, yeah, they would have loved it if they could have gotten Miguel Syme to turn down $1 million. They would have loved it if Dean Moss from ING would have fell to them and wanted to improve his stock in college. But they were very well aware that these guys were very potential and even likely signs in some cases. So instead of wringing your hands about the guys that LSU wasn't able to get in this signing class, more importantly, you look at what they were able to get through the draft, and it is very high end. And let's be honest, like, do you want to bring in a 13-guy signing class where 8 of them don't play and 6 of those transfer the first out? Like, that's not any better. So you want to get the small group that you feel like is really talented and can help, and you plug them in and you work on the next one. And whenever holes fall and things happen, you go to the transfer portal and clean that all up. So I think LSU is in a very good spot in terms of this signing class. We'll find out officially over the next 2 weeks when guys do put pen to paper, and out of curiosity, see what kind of money they're able to sign for. But LSU gets the iffy pieces outside of Ethan Fry back on the roster with Stanfield and Cowett and Newt. And you look at the signing class, they did get some really talented dudes to skip right on through that. So that's fantastic stuff for LSU. And I think a pretty solid weekend. I know it looks terrible on paper. I think it was really a pretty solid weekend for LSU in the Major League Baseball draft. So good deal there for LSU on the diamond. We're here at SEC Media Days on Radio Row. Teams taking their turn today: Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. Still waiting to hear from Steve Sarkisian in the big room. But we got a lot to do in hour number 2. I want to talk to Tony Barnhart coming up after Sports Center. We will certainly do that. Talk about his book and his outlook on the conference this year. We'll certainly talk about the Texas Longhorns in hour 2, as well as the Georgia Bulldogs, 2 of the teams that may be at the top of the conference when we settle this thing in December. We're back after Sports Center on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner will become the highest paid corner in league history. He'll get a 4-year extension worth $120 million. Baseball's All-Star Game comes to Atlanta for the third time tonight. The American League has won 10 of the last 11 All-Star Games. Aaron Judge bats third for the AL tonight. Shohei Ohtani leads off for the NL. ESPN's Jeff Passan.
Baseball right now, in Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, have, I think, the two biggest stars of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, these are real, transcendent, across all sports, names that people know, who do things that people can really, look at and say, hey, that's impressive.
Jeff Passan on the Pat McAfee Show. Coverage of the All-Star Game starts at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Former big league pitcher Dan Serafini is found guilty of first-degree murder in the 2021 California shooting death of his father-in-law. His mother-in-law was also injured in that shooting.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, we'll react to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, and I'll tell you why it's still the best All-Star Game in all of sports. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 up and running here from Atlanta, Georgia. We are in Southeast here for Southeastern Conference Media Days here in Atlanta. All week long here on this Tuesday. Now joined by Mr. College Football. He is Tony Barnhart. Not his first rodeo. In fact, 50th year covering the Southeastern Conference. That'll be a book, and we're going to talk about it. Thanks for giving us a little bit of time here.
Well, good to be with you guys. It's hard. We're almost through day 2. We're waiting on our first Arch Manning sighting.
We haven't gotten one yet. Have you gotten one yet?
No, but I'm saying, what's the over and under going to be? You know, they have a table over here where the players stand, that there'll be like 800,000 people around that table with Arch Manning, and poor backup tackle over here will have like his girlfriend will be there talking to him.
And that's when I always go to the other table because I can actually have a real conversation. You can't get anything out of that. Actually, the last time I was here was actually Johnny Manziel's second time, and it was when he had gotten into a little bit of trouble, and then it was an absolute circus, and that's the last time I was here. Now it's going to be for a different reason, but just the same type of deal. How do you think he'll do in year 1 as a starting quarterback?
He'll do fine. Listen, he's got the talent. He's got the blood. But think about this. No, there's no pressure on this guy. I mean, all he's got to do is live up to the family name. All he's got to do is lead Texas to a national championship. All he's got to do is win the Heisman Trophy. And all he's got to do is open at Ohio State. on August 30th. Other than that, there's no pressure on this guy at all.
It's interesting because Texas kind of dropped themselves in, and there they were in the conference championship game in year one. Did you anticipate that, and do you feel like that's a sustainable deal for Sark?
Oh, I do. I was not surprised to see them there. I think Texas and Georgia are the two best teams, and not by a whole lot, but they're the two best teams in this conference. And I'll be surprised if they're not playing in Atlanta.
We heard Kirby earlier today talk about last year was one of the most veteran teams he had ever had, and this year is going to be really, really green by Georgia standards. They only have 4 starters back. Well, certainly. So you feel like, hey, they'll just run it right back because it's the machine that he's built? Well,
a couple of things have got to happen. Number one, people sit here worry about the quarterback position. I said, guys, don't worry about Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton is going to be fine. The bigger issue for Georgia is that Georgia has not had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2019. They finished almost next to last in rushing in the SEC. They have not been able to run the football when they wanted to with the lead in the fourth quarter. Those are the things they've got to fix. And I think they've addressed them either in recruiting or transfer portal. But, the schedule flips.
Right.
Alabama comes to Athens. Texas comes to Athens, Ole Miss comes to Athens, so I think that will mean a lot.
Their defense didn't look as ferocious as it had in the 3 or 4 years previous to that, and it lost 3 first-rounders, but they generally tend to reload. You feel like they'll be among the best defenses in the country again?
Yeah, I do. And listen, 2020, 21 and 22 at Georgia were 2 of the best defensive lines you're ever going to see. And that's hard to sustain that many NFL draft choices. I think they'll be fine. And so, we'll see. There are other schools that I'm keeping an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on LSU. I'm keeping an eye on Florida. Keeping an eye on South Carolina and Lenora Sellers. So it's going to be a fun year.
Well, we're here in Baton Rouge. Let's talk about LSU. Not to the standard. Brian Kelly talked about it. We haven't been good enough on defense to win a national championship, and that's what everyone's they talked about it a lot yesterday, winning a national championship, which is not something you hear a lot in July. What do you read on Brian Kelly's program?
Well, first of all, to say that defense was not up to standard 2 years ago is being kind.
Yes,
very
it
kind.
is.
As my daddy used to say, son, that was boo awful, okay? And their defense was boo awful 2 years ago. They got better. Mm-hmm. They got a little bit better. And just talking to Coach Kelly, he thinks they're going to be even better still. He said, this is the best. I'm talking to him down in Destin. He said, this is the best roster I've had. I said, wait a minute. You like the best roster you've had ever? He said, yeah. I said, okay, duly noted. And we'll see. And, oh, by the way, they got to open at Clemson.
That was my next thing out of my mouth. It's like you're reading my notes. Look, I've been open about this. That would not be on my schedule if they put me in charge of it, but it's going to be quite a spectacle. How big a deal is that game? I mean, can LSU recover from another season-opening loss there?
They can't. You can. The great thing, this is why you play these games. You don't play Clemson on, November 15th.
Right.
You play Clemson in the first game when it's hot as blue blazes, and you do that. And so even if they lose, they're in position to do it. And again, with a 12-team playoff, you've got a little bit of room to breathe. Now, don't start losing another game real quickly. And my next thought is that Florida coming to Baton Rouge.
Week 3.
In week 3. That's a huge game for both teams.
Programs, because they're both trying to take another step. Florida's trying to get out of the mud, and LSU's trying to reach the top. Your sense on Billy Napier, who they rallied last year.
They rallied. They played. Listen, when they started the way they started, which was not very good at all, you said, there's no way this guy survives. And they played very well down the stretch. I get asked about those guys from the Florida media. I said, guys, it's simple. If DJ Lagway starts the season and finishes the season, plays all 12 games, Gators are going to be hard to handle. I think Georgia's good enough, but you don't know when you play that game.
What do you think of the job Billy Napier's done in totality? He inherited a pretty rough spot.
He inherited a real rough spot. The roster was not nearly where it needed to be. He knew that, but he got Lagway, and that helped them do a lot of things. And so, yeah, I think he's done a very good job. And the real shame of it would have been if he had gone 5-7 last year because of that schedule. They're not going to say, well, he's still on the right track.
Right.
The fans are too impatient. So hopefully they get off to a pretty good start.
You beat LSU and Ole Miss. That's pretty loud in the last month of the season.
Exactly.
There. So that was a big deal for Billy Napier. I'm chatting with Tony Barnhart here, Mr. College Football. 50 years covering the league, coming out with the book. Tell us about it.
This is going to be my last 50th and final year of doing it. I'm on a sort of a memory gathering tour.
Yeah.
I've got lots of great memories that are going to be in the book, but I wanted to get a sort of a fresh set of memories out of this year. And then when the season is over, I'm going to retire and sit down and finish writing the book. Hopefully we are looking at November of 2026 to publish the book, and that'll be the last thing I do, and then I retire.
That's awesome. It's been an unbelievable career that you've had. I know the Dodd Trophy is something that's very important to you as well. Tell us about it.
It really is. I've been on the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year board of directors for 15 years. And the Dodd Trophy is different than other Coach of the Year award. For example, this year it's really about scholarship, leadership, integrity are the three pillars of the award. And the coaches are examined not only by wins, but they're saying, what do your players do from a community service standpoint? What do they do academically? It's all those issues that come into play there. And it's different in the fact that when you receive the Dodd Trophy, we don't make you come to a banquet and join us and give you the trophy. We go to where you are, throw a dinner at your place so all your family and friends and program folks can see it. We took 15 people to Notre Dame to honor Coach Freeman, and we had a great time there.
That's awesome to hear. Before I let you go, you got a pick to win the Southeastern Conference this year?
I like Texas.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, even though they have to go to Athens, I think Texas, they have built that roster really well. And this is, I believe that Arch Manning is going to be something special. But we'll see after that first game. But I like Texas.
We will look very, very much forward to reading the book. Have a great year, and thanks for taking some time with us.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
He's Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football here in Atlanta. I really appreciate a little bit of his time. He's a busy man, running all over the place doing these interviews. But that's part of the fun of this week here at SEC Media Days. And, again, we appreciate a little bit of his time. That's going to be an amazing book. That's a man who's seen a lot from this conference over the course of 5 decades covering it. He's done it incredibly well, whether it was for the AJC, and he's been a presence at this event for a long, long time. So it's great that he was able to spend a little bit of time with us here in Baton Rouge. So we'll step aside and we'll keep things rolling here from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, it's storm season, and you know that because there's a storm that's about to pull into the Gulf. May compromise our flight plans on Thursday, quite frankly. There may be a moratorium put on coverage here this week because insurance companies are not going to bind coverage with the storm in the Gulf. So you need to make sure that everything is taken care of before that storm forms. And for that, you need a great broker. And if you don't have a great broker right now, or you have a strained relationship, or you're in the market looking for a broker, the Highland Insurance Group needs to be your first call. They are experts in the technical aspects of insurance, and they will make sure that your policy is buttoned up. Yes, they will consider the premium. They shop that policy with dozens of markets as an independent broker. But the coverage is what's got to be together when a storm like the one we're going to experience this week gets into that Gulf. So the Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carbo is the call you need to make. Find them online at HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Many thanks to Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, for taking a little time with us. I told you earlier in the show that I was going to announce our big winners for Saturday at the top of the hour. Well, we bumped Tony back to the top of the hour, and we wanted to have our conversation with him. So now we're going to announce our 4 winners for Saturday's event. It'll be UFC 318. We'll be watching it at ESPN Bet in LaBerge in Baton Rouge. And 4 winners are going to get VIP access. That means seating, all you can drink beer, all you can eat food. It's going to be a heck of a time. So congratulations to our 4 winnings. Dustin Stallings, Waylon Sole, Brett Boyd, and Walker Nelson are our winners. I'll repeat them again. Dustin Stallings, Waylon Sole, Brett Boyd, and Walker Nelson are our winners. We're going to reach out to you via social media. That's how you got entered into it. So we will reach out to you here on this Tuesday and Wednesday and get you all signed up to be there on Saturday for UFC 318. Dustin Poirier will be fighting on the card, and I'll be there looking very much forward to that on Saturday night. Hopefully we can get home in time with that storm brewing out there in the Gulf, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So awesome for those 4 winners for Saturday night's event. Let's talk some Georgia. Kirby Smart was up at the podium earlier today, and he said something that I thought resonated. I've told you about this for weeks. Like, a lot of the interview stuff from the players and coaches from this week is not awesome. Like, they've been coached. They know what they're trying to say. They know what they're not going to say. And if you don't really reach and pry, it's tough. And so in this setting on the radio, we can kind of get personal with somebody and you can get some good stuff. When you got 900 reporters in a room lobbing questions one at a time from a microphone, like, there's a lot of dry stuff that goes on in that big setting. But one thing that Kirby said that is true and that that's interesting, is that Georgia was among the most veteran teams in college football last year. And this team is not. This team is massively made up of freshmen and sophomores. This team at Georgia is returning 3 starters on the offensive side of the ball, missed the right tackle. 3 starters on offense and 3 starters on defense. So 3 on each side of the ball. That is a lot to make up for. And if you look through this projected depth chart, you're just not seeing a lot of seniors on this list. In fact, on the defensive side, there's 1. So it's a team that is young. It's not returning a ton of starters in production. you just trust the Kirby Smart machine to continue to restock those shelves and put massive talent on the field. And I don't doubt that at all. But I do know that they lost 3 first-round picks off their defense last year. Jalen Walker went 15th, Michael Williams went 11th, and Malachi Starks went 27th. And their defense last year wasn't the absolute death machine that it had been in the previous years. And they sent that Jalen Carter group. There were a lot of dudes that they sent in the first round from the defensive front. And as Tony just said in the last segment that we were talking to him, like, it's hard to continue to restock the shelves at that level, at that position. It's a little easier to just make sure you've always got a really good running back. There's a lot of really good running backs. A little bit easier to make sure you always got dudes in the secondary that can run. There's a lot of dudes that can play secondary and run. There just aren't a lot of dudes that play football like Jalen Carter. So it's sometimes tough to replace that guy. Now, if there is a guy that plays football like that, Georgia's going to talk to him. But it's hard to replace those guys. So last year, Georgia was 30th in the country in total defense. 30th. Like, LSU would love that because you were 106th and then 61st. Georgia was 30th. But Georgia has been living in the top 5 for half a decade. So why were they 30th? Was it because the level of talent dropped off? Was it because they had to go to Tuscaloosa and to Austin and to Oxford to play 3 of the better offensive minds in the conference? That's Kalen DeBoer, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. Like, that's a tough draw to have to go do that. Or was it because they've lost a tick on the recruiting trail and the development? We'll see. I'm certainly not here to dismiss Georgia at all. But it is worth mentioning, like, you had a defense that was 2 notches down from what you were, and you lost 3 first-rounders off of it. So are you going to be a lot better on that spot? We'll see. Offensively, Gunnar Stockton gets the keys. And this is like a throwback story, right? Because Gunnar Stockton waited his turn. And now he's been at Georgia for 2 years, and now it's his turn to start. He waited for Carson Beck. Carson Beck moves on. Okay, it's my turn now. He didn't transfer. He wants to play. Gunnar Stockton, incidentally, was here earlier today. Looks like he's 40 years old. Like he looks very, very mature, and he did get tossed into some difficult situations last year. And I'm not sure what you want to draw from the Notre Dame game. That's a tough spot. Carson Beck, tears his arm up in the SEC championship game, and then you got to throw a guy in there in the playoffs. It's a good situation for a young quarterback to be in, but I phrased that wrong. The situation meaning the skill, the position guys around him, the offensive front, running backs, weapons, like it's a talented group to join. It's a bad situation to toss a quarterback into a playoff game when he hasn't really played much all year. So was it a great showing? No. Should it have been a great showing? No. Am I going to hold it against him entering this fall? No, I'm not. I think that he's a guy that they brought in as a 4-star recruit that has waited a few years, and that gives you real – for 2 guys that were here in this chair yesterday, that gives you real Matt Flynn, Garrett Nussmeier vibes. Like, guys who were talented, came in, waited, learned the system. Okay, it's my turn to go. And now it's Gunnar Stockton's turn to go. And at wide receiver, I think Georgia upgraded over last year. Last year, the whole deal was like, okay, how are you going to replace Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers? And maybe they didn't to the degree that they needed to. But this year, because they went into the transfer portal and got 2 guys that I think LSU fans are really familiar with, I think it's an upgrade. They went and got Noah Thomas from Texas A&M, big 6'6" target. Is he a first-round projection? Probably not. But he was in that loaded Texas A&M signing class where none of them are still in College Station. And now he moves on to Athens, where he becomes a big body target for them. And then you go get Zachariah Branch. And we talked about Zachariah Branch all of August last year, right? He was a 5-star recruit, was at USC, is not elite with size, but quickness, speed, agility, all those. So it's a nice combination there of Thomas, big frame, catch radius, vertical, the whole deal, and then Branch, who's a water bug that's difficult to deal with. As far as Georgia goes on the offensive line, only 1 starter returning. But they do have 3 guys with starting experience that they will lean on in this spot. And then you go to schedule. Last year, at this point, Texas was a hot name that we were talking about. Alabama was still, coming off the Saban era and still had that aura that they bring. And then Ole Miss was the belle of the ball as far as the transfer portal and this kind of being their year to break out. Now we know what happened. Alabama fell on their face and lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, and Ole Miss lost to Kentucky and Florida. But they had really talented teams, and Georgia had to go play all of them on the road. All of them. And then Georgia won the SEC championship game, and Kirby Smart basically took a shot at Greg Sankey for the schedule. But now that schedule flips, and you do have your tougher games at home. You got Alabama at home. You got Ole Miss at home. You got Texas at home. And then you don't have to play Florida on the road. That's in Jacksonville. So the true road games in the league for Georgia are Tennessee, which will be difficult, are Auburn, which we don't know, and then Mississippi State, which they should handle in November as Rivers stares me down. The names on the schedule are a little bit intimidating, but where Georgia plays them make it more palatable. So if you just go through the exercise, like, okay, well, what does this kind of look like? Say they lose at Tennessee. They probably won't, but even if they lose at Tennessee, if you win your home games, you beat Alabama at home, and you beat Texas at home, like, you don't have a lot of other landmines here. They're not losing to Kentucky at home. I don't think they're going to go to Auburn and lose. I don't think they're going to Mississippi State and lose. I don't think they're going to lose to Florida and Jacksonville, and I don't think they're going to lose to Georgia Tech, despite what happened last year, and the fact that game is here in Atlanta. There are a lot of name brands, but if they just take care of their business in Athens, I don't think there are enough roadblocks away from Athens to knock them out of the playoffs. It might knock them out of the SEC championship game because who knows who's got 11-1 in their bag. But we're talking about the playoff is really the thing that matters most. Getting to Atlanta is nice, but the most important thing is getting in the 16-team playoff. And it's hard for me to go through Georgia's schedule assuming they do a good job at home and getting them knocked out of the playoff. I think they're a playoff team, even if they have lost a lot and their defense wasn't as ferocious as it was. It's just now this is the brand that everybody trusts to the level they trusted the Saban Alabama teams. I'm not saying that Kirby's program is exactly where Alabama's was. I'm saying that we kind of all trust Georgia now to just be really good. And the fact that they got to the playoff with that schedule last year is remarkable. They had to go to Austin and win to do it, but they did. And now everybody's got to come into Sanford Stadium and deal with a bunch of barking dogs, which is a difficult thing for anybody to do. So that's a look at the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they are a likely playoff team. I know that's not exactly the hottest take that I'm going to give you over 4 days here in Atlanta, but I think this is a quality Georgia team that will be in the college football playoff come December. All right, we're chugging right along here on Radio Row from SEC Media Days in Atlanta. 30 minutes left to go. We'll come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
And Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. Safety is a big deal in the bathroom, especially as folks age. We know that. If there's someone in your life that's getting up there a little bit in age and you feel like the bathroom could be a hazardous spot for them, well, go ahead and call David Duvall. Say, hey, what can you do for me? He'll tell you about non-slip floors. He'll tell you about guardrails that they can install in slippery places. He'll tell you about walk-in tubs that are safer, more convenient. He'll tell you about showers with benches so they can be safer. You can never take away risk of something like that. What you can do is mitigate it. And David Duvall and his team do this kind of work all the time. So if this is ringing a bell for you and you're going, oh, that might be something I need to look into, do it with David. Just go to OneBathAndClosets.com. Get that free consultation. That part doesn't cost you anything. If you get down the road and decide that you do want to move forward, great. It's awesome. You can go ahead and do that, and there are financing options that are available, 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
So, Texas A&M and Texas have not been Southeastern Conference rivals very long, right? Texas has been in the league for 1 year, okay? But they have already provided just some classic rivalry moments, and we just got another one here at SEC Football Media Days. Y'all know about Jim Schlossnagle, baseball coach who bolts and leaves after national runner-up finish in the College World Series. That happened. And then the press conference that followed that, where the Texags reporter asked the question and Schlossnagle snapped at him, and that drew national news. Then Schlossnagle goes, and that's just classic Texas A&M stuff. And then you've got this past year where A&M is the last undefeated SEC team, and they're thinking they might be able to make the playoff, and they're hanging on for dear life toward the end, and then Texas comes in to Kyle Field, and Texas doesn't even allow them to score an offensive touchdown. And now we've got a little bit of a moment here where Steve Sarkisian, who, by the way, toned down the attire. I was thinking might be a big orange coat, big orange pants. No, he's just got a nice tan suit on today, just playing it low-key. But he was announced to go address the big ballroom at SEC Media Days. I'm looking at it right now. There's 180, 240, something like that, reporters down there. And when the coach walks up to the podium, the logo's behind him, and they play the school's fight song. And somebody who's pushing buttons back there pushed the Texas A&M fight song. So Sark, with all the Texas gear behind him, walks up to the Aggie War Hymn, which is just incorrect and, to me, hilarious. Some things, I mean, look, a baseball coach leaving, snapping at a reporter, those are like real-life situations that's a lot of drama. This is just a silly mistake, but it's the funniest mistake you could make. Like, maybe playing the Alabama fight song for Hugh Freeze is better, but really this is the best one that you would do, would be to play the Texas A&M fight song as Stark pulls up. It just brings back to mind when Jim Schlossnagle was in the dugout in a game or a regional or something, and he wanted to say hook 'em on the way out and said gig 'em instead, because that's what he had been saying for the last 3 years. So just a little bit more spice between Texas and Texas A&M as Steve Sarkisian hits the podium to the Aggie War Hymn. Okay, it's time to talk about Arch, I guess. We haven't done that yet, so let's do that. It's crazy. Like, I'm aware of the situation. I know that if his name was Arch Wilson, that this would not be the case. But I'm telling you right now that I'm looking at this ballroom where Steve Sarkisian is addressing the crowd. There are no players here, but there are 3 places set up where the individual players go about 15 minutes after Stark finishes. And there's one chair and a backdrop and a table, and there's room for comfortably, I would say, 20 reporters to stand around and ask questions. We do it with every player that comes through. Arch Manning is not going to be in that room for another 45 minutes. 2 of the individual player stands are completely empty. Just a chair and a microphone and a backdrop. The one that Arch is going to already has 30 reporters around it. Like, y'all, I know I haven't been here for 12 years, and Johnny Manziel is the last one I saw do this, and Tim Tebow did it as well. But it is a freaking free-for-all around here for Arch Manning. Like, it's just his last name. Like, he hasn't done anything. That's not even a commentary on whether I think he's going to be awesome or terrible. It just is what it is. He hasn't even really played, and we've got people lining up 25 minutes early to talk to him. It's very, very interesting. Now I'll get to the football side of things. Like, I think he's going to be good, but I think if you put him in the Purdue offense today, he'd probably be pretty pedestrian. I think what is awesome for Arch is that Texas has been a recruiting juggernaut for the last 3 years, and that he's got a big-time offensive line full of talent. They're replacing pieces, but they're massively high-level prospects. And you've got DeAndre Moore, who is a really good wide receiver. You've got Ryan Wingo at wide receiver, who's 6'2" and runs the 100 in right about 10 flat. And you've got a play caller in Steve Sarkisian, who has proven it now beyond a doubt that he is one of the best play callers in the sport. What he did in Tuscaloosa and then immediately turned around and is really done after a year and a half of getting through the mud in Texas, I think the situation's great. I think it's a reasonable take to suggest that if Arch Manning is this generational quarterback, and that is a term that is so grossly overused, and I'm using it intentionally to make the point, like, if he's this guy that is as good as anybody Texas has had in the last 30 years, why didn't he play last year? He wasn't a true freshman. Like, why didn't he play last year? It just would stand to reason that he might have beat out Quinn Ewers, who was a 7th-round pick. Again, I think Arch Manning's going to do a good job, and I think Texas is going to be awesome because of the talent they've assembled and the coaching staff that they've got there. They got Anthony Hill at linebacker, who's one of the best players in the country. They've got another stud linebacker in Leona Lefu. Manny Muhammad is a lockdown corner on one side. Like, they've got dudes at Texas. And you look at their schedule, and it does include some difficult road trips. Athens is a difficult road trip, obviously. Oxford is a difficult road trip. They don't play well, but sorry. Athens, difficult road trip. Ohio State is the other one that is a very difficult road trip. And we'll see what Florida brings. But you do have Arkansas. You do have Kentucky. You do have Mississippi State. You do have Vanderbilt. And then you get Texas A&M in Austin. So kind of like with Georgia, it's just really difficult for me to get into the weeds of this schedule and look at it and find 3 losses. And that's the game when you look at the schedule, right? For the teams at the top of the league, the game of the schedule is, okay, how do I get to 3 losses? And with Texas, if I'm going to get to 3 losses, it's got to start with the loss against Ohio State. It's got to be a loss at Georgia. And then what's the next most difficult game? Is it at Florida? Is it the game in Dallas with Oklahoma? Is it A&M in Austin? They're going to be favored in those games. Maybe I'm sliding Florida too much. We'll talk about them when they visit tomorrow. But I have a hard time getting Georgia to that 3rd loss. To me, it's a 10-2 team that makes the playoff and maybe doesn't reach the SEC championship game. Maybe does. 7-1 likely gets you there. But there are tiebreakers. How many tiebreakers were we trying to do last year after LSU lost to Texas A&M? Like a bajillion. This mania with Arch is a lot. It's very unproven. It's more based on skill set. I, though, am going to read it a little bit deeper and go, yeah, he's got a skill set. Probably got a good head on his shoulders. Can run. Big arm. All that's great. But the situation he's in with a great play caller and the talent around him is really the deciding factor here. It's not that he's the best quarterback prospect anybody's ever seen. It's that he's a good one in a great situation. And that is going to lend itself to a lot of points and a lot of wins. And when you look at the schedule that has been presented here, like it's manageable for this Texas team. So you don't play Alabama, you don't play LSU, you don't play Ole Miss, you don't play Tennessee, and you do play the teams that are going to be picked at the bottom of the league. Like Arkansas is going to be picked at the bottom of the league, Vanderbilt's going to be picked at the bottom of the league, Mississippi State's going to be picked at the bottom of the league, Kentucky's going to be picked at the bottom of the league. You got all 4 of those. That's a big advantage there for Texas. And we talked about it last year, and that was when they got Georgia to come to Austin, and you flipped it and you had Texas A&M on the road. They took care of business in that game. Georgia got them there in Texas. But it's a product of the schedule and the situation, and all of that to me adds up to Texas being a playoff team here. So I've got Georgia and Texas, 2 of our teams today that are in the playoff. I think there are probably 2 more spots for the SEC to get in, and we'll talk about that kind of as we move forward here throughout the week in Atlanta. A huge shout-out to our sponsors who have made this trip possible to Atlanta. Of course, that's Parrish Construction and Roofing. You want to win some cash? You can do that with Parrish Construction and Roofing. You can sign up for your chance to win $10,000 at parrishbuilt.com. And also presented by Rev and Relief Windows. My show's winding down, but Matt's still got 3 hours to go here from Radio Row. So jam-packed Tuesday here from the ATL. We'll come back and close it out when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. 10 years, 100,000 miles on that warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles on that warranty. That's as good as you're going to find in the industry. And how about 3 years of complimentary maintenance? How about 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance? They've got loaners. They'll bring one to you. You don't miss a beat. You can go get about your day. They'll handle your maintenance, complimentary for 3 years, bring it right back to you. It's part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. It's a luxury brand of vehicles at a reasonable price. So when I say luxury brand, don't price yourself out. Go look online. If you like what you see, they'll bring a test drive to you. Like what you test drive, e-contracts, digital delivery, you never have to set foot on the lot at the dealership. It's a convenience. It's part of being a Genesis driver. Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
All right, closing things down for me on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show from SEC Football Media Days. As I said at the top of the show, a little bit of a different day today for our shows specifically, because 4 teams showcased today that LSU will not play in 2025. Georgia, Auburn, Tennessee, Texas, none of which are on LSU's schedule. Like yesterday, you had LSU, and then you had 3 teams that LSU is going to play. You had Vanderbilt, you had Ole Miss, and you had Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, and who was the other one? South Carolina. They're on the schedule. And so today just happens to be the way it goes. 4 teams LSU's not going to play. Tomorrow, Alabama will be here. Kalen DeBoer will be here. He'll bring Tim Keenan, Deontay Lawson, and Caden Proctor, the big offensive linemen. LSU, of course, will go to Tuscaloosa later on this year. Mississippi State is on the docket tomorrow. Tigers do not play the Bulldogs this year. Florida, Billy Napier will be here with Caleb Banks, DJ Lagway, the quarterback, and Jake Slaughter, great offensive lineman. LSU does play Florida, so we'll have that. And Oklahoma will be here. Brent Venables will bring his crew in with Robert Spears-Jennings, John Mateer, their transfer quarterback, as well as Mason Thomas. So LSU does play them. So you got 3 LSU opponents on tomorrow's docket, and we'll certainly dive more deeply into those 3 teams. Looking very much forward to that. But it's been a great show here on this Tuesday. We announced our winners for Saturday's giveaway as a VIP opportunity to watch UFC 316. If you missed it a little bit earlier, Dustin Stallings, Waylon Soule, Brett Boyd, and Walker Nelson were our winners. We're going to reach out to them via social media, make sure they are with us on Saturday at LeBear's. If you'd like to come out and not be VIP, but just watch the fight and hang out in the great sports bar, you can do that as well. We're looking forward to Saturday's event at LeBear's Baton Rouge for the big fight, UFC 318. So that's the housekeeping duty for today from Atlanta. Beck, I don't know if I can hear you because I couldn't hear you a little bit earlier, but do we have any take it or leave it?
Yes. Yes.
Sweet, I can hear you. That's a good thing. So let's do it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. It's the summer. It is hot. If you're looking for something to cool off, cold pop will do it, and that's Flight by Yingling. If you're at the pool, at the lake, at the beach, on the golf course, on the grill, just in the backyard hanging out, Flight by Yingling is a tremendous light beer. You're going to love it. Just give it a try. Wherever you buy your alcohol, give it a look. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. The Dallas Mavericks are shutting down Cooper Flagg for the remainder of the Summer League. Flagg played in just 2 games in the Las Vegas Summer League. Flagg only playing 2 in the Summer League. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Who cares? I mean,
I'll take it.
Dallas and
I'll take it.
I don't think the Summer League is that big a deal. I did chuckle because my wife was in Vegas last weekend for that concert, and she saw it. She's like, there's some basketball thing here. And I was like, yeah, it's the Summer League. Like, it's a couple weeks. It's not that big a deal. And she's like, is Michael Jordan going to be there? Like, I can take a picture for Myers.
No way she actually said that. No way she actually said that.
No, yeah, she did. I was like, no, Michael Jordan, not going to be there. Not going to watch the Summer League or play in the Summer League. Who's relegated to a lot of golf these days. That's how locked in Alyssa is to sports. Just is what it is.
All right. We'll move on here. The next one, the Jets signed Sauce Gardner to a 4-year, $120 million extension. Of course, as these new contracts have been going, he gets 85.6 of that guaranteed. Gardner is now going to be the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. Gardner being the highest paid cornerback in the NFL, take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's awesome.
I'll take it.
And the Jets get a good player. They need to just take that good player and sign him and extend him. I think that's a great plan for them. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think he's really good. So the Aaron Rodgers thing did not work out, but Sauce Gardner was a great draft pick. He's a great player. Sign him up.
All righty, next one here. The MLB PA made a statement in regards to the collective bargaining agreement that will be ending after the 2026 season. As I think we talked about this about a month or 2 ago, this isn't looking good in terms of a lockout potentially happening. Tony Clark, the director of the MLBPA, called it institutionalized collusion, reiterating that he remains vehemently opposed to installing a salary cap after baseball's labor deal expires. As I said, after the 2026 season, we will be getting a lockout after 2026. Take it or leave it.
I will take it.
I'll take it.
It's inevitable at this point.
I'll take it.
It's just really, really sad because the owners are trying to drive wages down and drive revenues up, and the players aren't having it, and I understand why both are doing that. I think they are both doing it, and they're going – the loser here is going to be the fans, and that's going to stink, and I'm going to hate it, and I hope that it gets resolved pretty quickly, and I hope that the owners come off the salary cap. It's not going to happen. Players aren't going to allow it to happen. They're going to lose even more money when they don't play. And it sucks to think about, but I think it's coming.
All righty, next one, last one actually. I don't know if you saw this. This was in the news yesterday, but former NFL quarterback, former New Orleans Saint, Teddy Bridgewater, who notably won a state championship coaching high school football at Miami Northwestern, was suspended from his position as the coach there for allegedly providing impermissible benefits to his players, which were, according to Bridgewater, simply just helping kids with get home to and from practice with Uber rides, meals, and recovery services. Apparently, those were the impermissible benefits. Of course, that's what he says. I'm not sure there's anything else there, but the Florida High School Athletic Association confirmed to Rivals that they are gathering more information on it, but he is currently suspended for that. Teddy getting suspended for that. Take it or leave it.
For that, I'll leave it.
Leave it alone.
I don't know Teddy Bridgewater.
Leave it alone.
I feel like he's a pretty good dude, and I feel like it's unlikely that he's running some sort of massive scheme with Miami high school football. I think that it's very likely he was just probably doing something that he thought was the right thing to do. Now, if it comes out that I'm being too generous there and that's not the case, well, I'll change my tune on it. But at this point, I feel like it's pretty likely that Teddy was not doing anything too nefarious and that this is probably overreaching. But we'll see. That's it for Take It or Leave It, presented by Flight by Yingling. We do have a little bit of, it's tough to call it breaking news if he tweeted it an hour ago, but Ashton Larson has found a new home in the transfer portal. He will be headed to Austin to play for the Texas Longhorns. I think a lot of people thought maybe headed home to Kansas to play for a former LSU assistant in Coach Fitzgerald, but nope, he's headed to play for another LSU former assistant in Nolan Kane and Jim Schlossnagle over in Austin. I think Larson, I don't know their roster inside and out. I think he's probably a starter for them next year and will probably have a pretty good year. He got off to a bad start this past season. He was striking out just about every time he was asked to pinch hit. He had the one big swing against Alabama that was huge. But he had a bad start, and then you just had three guys in the outfield, really four, that weren't going to relinquish their time. And he just got kind of boxed out. And I think if he comes back next year, if he were to come back to LSU next year, he'd probably be getting boxed out again because Jake Brown's back, and now Chris Stanfield's back. And Derek Curiel's back, so his left-handed bat doesn't matter with Brown and Curiel there. Maybe there's some DH times for him, but maybe not. And it's just, if he wants to play, he's probably got to go somewhere else. And that's just part of it. When you stockpile as much really good talent as LSU does, sometimes pretty good players get squeezed out. And there's a reason you looked around the SEC this past year and you saw some guys that couldn't make it at LSU doing some pretty good things elsewhere. You saw Sam Dutton have a really nice year. You saw Mitchell Sanford at Ole Miss have a pretty nice year. And you'll see what Ashton Larson can do in Austin next year. But he just tweeted out hook 'em. He'll be playing for the Texas Longhorns next year. If you missed this in the middle of the first hour, LSU did add a transfer bat today in the form of Zach York, a 6'2", 295-pound first baseman / DH from Grand Canyon, who's been a good hitter for Grand Canyon at .328 average over 3 years, and he's hit a total of 32 college home runs. So that's your baseball catch-up for the day. We've been heavy on football here. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I'm about done. I'm excited for tomorrow's show. We'll have some more coverage on LouisianaSports.net as well. Lots to do as we move throughout the week. I'm going to hand the baton to Matt now for After Further Review. He'll kick you home from 3 to 6 right here from SEC Media Days in Atlanta. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for another edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt